scenic spring day in the Pacific Northwest supplies the backdrop for what should be an exciting and hotly contested affair between two teams on extended unbeaten runs here as month 2 of the USL Championship season comes to a close. It's match day 9 for Portland Timbers 2 as they welcome Rio Grande Valley Toros FC to Merlot Field here in Portland, Oregon. Welcome into the broadcast booth alongside two-time MLS Cup champion with Real Salt Lake and Portland Timbers, Nat Borchers. I'm Fletcher Johnson. Nat, interesting storylines in this one. Both teams on 4-match unbeaten runs, but both gave up late goals that could have resulted in victories in their last match. Some striking similarities between both of these teams, Fletcher, and I think it's going to be interesting because both teams know how to attack. Both teams have very good front fours. They interchange. They're very dynamic. However, the defensive side has been an issue for both teams. So I think from a coaching standpoint, you want to see the goals continue, but make sure you prevent things on the defensive side. Despite both teams being on the extended unbeaten runs, as we look at the USL standings, you'll find that they're in very different positions here early in the year, although not separated by that many points. Portland Timbers 2 in first place on 15 points after the draw on the road with New Mexico United. Meanwhile, Rio Grande Valley FC in 14th place after the 4-4 draw with Los Dos. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because Portland Timbers 2 just coming off that big result at New Mexico showed a ton of resilience, bringing a lot of momentum into this game. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our players to watch. We'll start off with the home side, Portland Timbers 2, and it is the 21-year-old Virginia native Eric Williamson who scored a brace. And he's been doing it all, Eric Williamson. He's able to thread the needle in the final pass. He's able to control the rhythm in the midfield. He's able to come up with big-time goals on set pieces like this one. He's able to step up as well at the penalty spot and bury the goals that this team needs for them to be successful. Yeah, T2 just 3 for 7 from the spot so far this season. Williamson, though, 1 for 1 after that make last Friday night. All right, our player to watch for the visiting Rio Grande Valley Toros FC is Michael Salazar, who had a hat trick in 16 minutes against Los Dos. Yeah, this was an incredible game to watch. But Michael Salazar is a special player. He's very, very good 1v1, very, very good in the box, making runs, especially in between the two center backs. Every time the ball goes into the box, the center backs for T2 are going to have to be aware of his movement and his runs because he's very dangerous in there. He's able to make some very clinical finishes, and especially when the balls get wide and crosses come in, he's looking to pounce on them and just finish like a goal scorer would. Salazar in his first season with RGV spent the last 3 years under contract with Montreal Impact. Well, these two sides will be squaring off for the 7th time here tonight. T2 with the distinct advantage 4-1-1, that lone loss coming back in April of 2016 here at Merlot Field. Can T2 continue their unbeaten run? We'll have starting lineups and opening kickoff as we begin week 9 in USL Championship coming up. Just moments from kickoff here at Merlot Field between Portland and Rio Grande Valley. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lineups. We'll begin with the visiting RGV Toros, a 4-2-3-1 with 5 changes from Thursday night's match against Los Dos. And Nat, it's really the front 4 that are the engine for this team, having helped create 11 goals of their 14 in the last 3. They will be a handful. Look for them to make dynamic, interchanging runs, and for Cabrera to be pulling the strings in that midfield. Meanwhile, for T2, a 4-2-3-1 as well, with 4 changes from the Friday night match against New Mexico United, as Zambrano and Williamson partner in defensive midfield, Tomas Konechny at the number 10.
Zambrano and Williamson will be keeping that pulse in the middle. Lots of possession there. Expect that. Konechny is going to be a question mark. How many touches on the ball can he get, and how effective will he be in leading this attack for T2?
Well, you see number 27 there on your screen. Dairon Asprilla making his first appearance since this incredible bicycle kick goal a month ago.
Yeah, I just can't get enough of this goal. Asprilla is just such a phenomenal player to watch. He is explosive. He's very, very good one-on-one, and he can pull off plays like this at a moment's notice. And what a spectacular bicycle kick this was. The goalkeeper had no chance on this one. Hopefully we'll get to see another one of these tonight.
Well, he earned the number 3 play on SportsCenter's top 10 that night. Over 200,000 views of that goal across the world on social media. And Dairon Asprilla, as you mentioned, hoping to replicate that goal here tonight for his team. He had a brace that night as well. So not only trying to replicate the goal, but pick up maybe a pair and help T2 extend the unbeaten run to 5. Well, our head referee for the evening is Farhad Dodko. He's assisted by Andrew Marhart and Ryan Jung. The 4th official tonight is Wilson Munoz, as we are just about set for kickoff between Rio Grande Valley and Portland Timbers 2. T2 in their primary kits, the all green kits. Meanwhile, RGV orange tops, white shorts, and orange socks, as it will be RGV and Michael Salazar to get us underway. And we are set for soccer here on a Tuesday night. A beautiful one at that, 69 degrees here in Portland. Slight breeze of about 5 miles an hour throughout the course of the evenings expected, but couldn't be much more perfect conditions for soccer between these two teams. As mentioned, Rio Grande Valley 2-3-3 so far this season on 9 points, tied for 14th place, or 13th place, I should say, in the Western Conference. Meanwhile, Portland Timbers 2 4-1-3 on 15 points. As this ball comes forward for Salazar, Leaker quickly off his line to clear, and Smith gets it out of danger momentarily, but RGV nearly win it back. This is a T2 side that will play, starting tonight, 3 of their next 4 matches at home, so an opportunity to potentially extend their lead in the Western Conference if they are able to get home results. And it's certainly something that's been a focus here as of late for T2, after what Cam Knowles would have described as a disappointing home schedule and season last year. They've defended things here at Merlo Field so far, undefeated at 2-0-1.
Yeah, and the more results you get at home, the more it just builds that confidence and that belief. It's like every time you put on that home jersey, you feel like you're invincible. And so continuing to build that feeling of invincibility amongst this group, getting these results are very, very important.
Roy Miller inserted back into the T2 lineup once again here this evening. First time in a few matches that Roy Miller has seen the starting 11, as T2 goes back to Jake Leaker, and he goes over midfield. Smith wins the header and puts Asprilla into space, but he can't quite control it as it rolls out to touch. It gives us an opportunity now to take a look at our keys to the game for both sides. We had a chance to chat with both Cam Knowles and Gerson Echeverry here today, and as we see on the screen, a couple things for each side to pay attention to.
Yeah, and for T2, it's really going to come down to taking care of the ball. This is a Toros team that likes to cheat. They have very, very skillful wingers and frontmen, so making sure they take care of the ball. If you lose it in transition, you're going to be in trouble. Secondarily, take advantage on set pieces. At times, this RGV team can be a bit disorganized in the box, so making sure that service is right and finding those runners, very important. For RGV, making sure that they minimize T2's control of the middle. Williamson and Zambrano are the engines in this midfield. They are so good working on and off the ball.
This ball, through ball, just too far in front of Ryan Sierkowski.
And then secondarily, it's about limiting the looks of the attacker. So making sure RGV gets out and puts pressure on those wingers, making sure that they're defensively sound, going to be very important tonight if they want to get the result. Already seeing Fletcher, the sun might be a bit of a factor. Leaker having to wear that hat. He's miscleared a couple of balls early on here. Wonder how much the sun is a factor for him.
Yeah, the field setup here at Merlo Field is north to south, as RGV dribbles into the box, and the block made by Jadama out for the first corner kick of the night. We here are facing west, so looking into the sun as Jake Leaker is right now. And about a quarter of the field is in the shade.
Yeah, Enrique's doing a very good job of just getting down that line, trying to get that cross off. Well defended by T2.
Isidro Martinez will strike the corner. He is put in near the top in the league in crosses to this point in the season. We'll send in this corner kick. Ball sent towards the penalty spot. Leaker with an important punch away, and then just sent back in and for a goal kick.
And Leaker does very, very good in that moment. These are the initial moments as a goalkeeper when you need to make that first punch, need to make that first save. He's up to the task. He makes full contact right there. RGV team, though, they got a tall team. Kevin Garcia is towering in that box. Very important to make sure that T2 keeps track of him.
T2 certainly like Jake Leaker, what he brings to the table. We've talked with goalkeeping coach Aiden Brown just about his excitement for Leaker and the potential that he has to grow inside this Timbers organization. And has come up in big occasions throughout the course of the season, although I'm sure through different matches would want better from himself. Here comes RGV dribbling into the Timbers box, momentarily blocked away. And now it was Cabrera who could not find Enriquez in there. So RGV pressuring T2 early. That ball forward, though, from Coronado, too far out in front of Salazar.
Yeah, T2 was putting the pressure on them, but RGV beating the pressure early, and then one threaded pass into the channel for Salazar. He's 1v1 with the center backs.
Back to Leaker, the 23-year-old St. Louis, Missouri native. Sprays this ball, looking for Asprilla. Never got more than about 6-8 feet off the ground. And ends up back at the feet of Cabrera. He's dispossessed. And now Asprilla looking for the long switch. Finds the head of Konechny, who sends it over to Sierakowski. Eric Williamson, league leader in assist, playing in the defensive midfield today, and that's one of the interesting things to watch. Williamson has been so dynamic in the attack, but sliding back into more of a defensive-minded role here this evening.
Yeah, and we saw him from time to time slide into that holding spot in the midfield. He's a very versatile player, though. He can play in the number 10. He can play as a winger. He can play as a holding midfielder. He's just very, very skillful, and he just very smart on the ball, makes good decisions, and we've seen him, Fletcher, grow a lot in these last couple of years with T2.
Beautiful ball from Roy Miller to find the chest of Nathan Smith. Can't quite do enough with it to control it, and then ends up fouling Coronado. And it ends in an RGV restart. 7th minute, in case you're just joining us, Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers here with you as we take another look at that ball sprayed from Miller. Yeah, Miller with a nice long ball there. Finds Smith in the open area. He just gets a little overzealous as Coronado's able to come in and get his body in front of it. But so far, seeing RGV with a lot of high pressure, Fletcher, they're doing a very, very good job of making things difficult for T2 to play out. And they have to be careful, T2, because this is a team that likes to high press. They're very comfortable in that final third, so they have to be very careful maintaining that possession and playing out of the back especially. When we were talking to the second-year head man of RGV, Gerson Echeverry, he mentioned that the slow start, he felt that the team wasn't playing together, and in these last 4 matches that they have, a pair of wins and a pair of draws, they've started to trust one another more, believe in one another more, and just handle their responsibilities instead of trying to take care of multiple jobs as a single individual. It's always interesting how these runs of play, these stretches of good results come about. Sometimes it comes about from being on the road together a lot. Sometimes it comes about from the necessity of getting a result. But once you get into that rhythm and you start feeling very good about performances, that's when teams can really come together and string along results. And both of these sides have done it. Zambrano gives away the foul there and sets up an opportunity for Martinez to send this one into the box, and this will come basically directly from where the sun is. This will be a challenge for Jake Leaker to deal with. Waiting for the whistle from Farhad Dodko. Ball sent in by Martinez. Goes over one man, finds another, and RGV has the opener in the 9th minute. believe that is Wilmer Cabrera Jr., his second goal of the season.
It's just a nice flatted ball over the top. Looks like it might have got a little flick there, but it comes down to Cabrera. He's able to corral it and just gets the jump there. Very nicely done from Cabrera. I think he gets a little bit lucky on that first touch, but nobody is there to cover him, and it's 1-0 to RGV.
If that name Wilmer Cabrera sounds familiar, it's because, yes, indeed, his father is the coach of Houston Dynamo. The Colorado Rapids and IMG Academy youth player has put the visitors out in front here early.
If you look back to that play, Fletcher, I think it was some zonal defending, which I always disagree with in the box. Certainly, I think there was a few runners wide open there, so T2 is going to have to button that up.
Well, you never want to give up early goals. We'll give you a stat in a minute that might make you feel a little better if you're a T2 fan about giving up that early goal. As Williamson plays keep away from Hernandez.
Well, you look at the resilience of this T2 team going back to that New Mexico United game. They were able to come back from 2 goals down, and talking to Cam Knowles about that, he talked about the resilience his team showed and how proud he was that they were able to dig themselves out of that hole, especially on the road in a difficult position.
Sierkowski nearly wins possession, and then T2 called for a foul. Well, T2, when they allow the first goal this season, they've done it 4 times. Tonight's the 5th. T2 undefeated when they've allowed the first goal. 1 win and 3 draws. So now it just speaks to that resilience. They've done it a lot on the road, too, giving up early goals. They did it in the opener against Tulsa, came back to get a draw. You mentioned New Mexico, and then a couple other matches in there as well. But it's a group that's young but is experienced and certainly has a belief that no matter the situation, they can find their way back into a match.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to get slapped in the face to wake up in some games. And for this T2 team, it's encouraging to know that when they do go down a goal, they are able to dig themselves out of that hole and play with confidence. And very important now that they do that. They utilize that belief and those previous results to move themselves forward in this game.
Miscommunication from Miller and Farfan results in an RGV throw in the attacking third. Hernandez pressured by Langsdorff, but gets it away in time. This RGV side, as we mentioned, 11 goals in the last 14 matches, now 12 of their 15, I should say. They've now scored 15 goals. 12 of those goals have come in the last 3 plus 12 minutes. They found some sort of rhythm here that they were lacking early in the year, and they seem to have T2 a bit off balance here early on.
Yeah, they look a little bit disjointed right now. T2 not connecting the proper passes. I think they're doing a good job of making things difficult for T2 in that middle third, and T2 just got to find a way to keep calm, string together some passes. Zambrano looks like he's being marked pretty tightly, as well as Williamson. They've got to get on the ball, get a few touches, get that rhythm.
Salazar down after a tough challenge from Eric Williamson, who slid down, got the ball, but then took out Salazar afterwards. And eventually the ball is played out. Salazar down on one knee right now, I think asking Farhad Dadko, where's the foul? But he looks to be okay.
And Williamson just going in strong on the challenge there. Difficult to see if Williamson got the ball in the man or just the man in that situation, but certainly a strong challenge there from Williamson. And he's not really known for his tackling, Williamson, but he does have a little bit of bite in there, and that's going to be important tonight for T2 to make sure they set a tone in that midfield, make sure it's not easy for RGV to play through there.
Team of the week performer Eric Williamson after his brace against New Mexico United last Friday night. Here is Malik Foster, gets it back. Only to be taken away by Zambrano. Zambrano was one of the best in the league last year in terms of tackling, showing his chops once again. It helped him earn a contract with the MLS Timbers in the offseason, among other stellar play. As Sierkowski loses out to Cabrera, the goal scorer coming the other way. Miller steps up, wins the ball. but quickly back at the feet of RGV. Now Foster making the overlapping run, first time cross into the box, cleared away by Jadama. And Asprilla, who's been quiet so far, picks it up.
Yeah, it's those types of situations for T2 they're going to have to be careful of, not giving the ball over easily, turning the ball over easily in midfield, because as you can see for RGV, they really relish those opportunities, the ability to get one or two passes, and then they're in on you on goal.
Williamson picks out Asprilla, controls it this time, and he'll go 1v1 versus Coronado. Couple step overs into the box. Now ball takes a deflection. Derrick is able to grab it before it rolls across the end line. Tyler Derrick, the 30-year-old from Spring, Texas, and MLS caliber goalkeeper, spent time with Houston Dynamo. He's in his second season on loan from the Dynamo after 83 appearances. His third to last appearance with the Dynamo was a 2017 playoff game against the MLS Timbers, in which he held a clean sheet. Had some off the field issues that led to a suspension from Major League Soccer for about 9 months.
Yeah, and these are the types of opportunities you want to get when you're going through difficult life situations like that. And for Tyler Derrick, getting these minutes, getting his confidence back, and getting back into the good graces of the club, very important.
Zambrano finds the chest of Asprilla, but Asprilla was in an offside position. Fans follow Portland Timbers 2 and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN+ and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at espnplus.com.
Yeah, Fletcher, we still haven't seen T2 really get an attacking opportunity. We're 15 minutes already into the game. They just haven't really found a rhythm. They haven't been able to move the ball quite like they're used to. I think they just need to settle the ball down a little bit, take their opportunities, make sure they're just connecting passes, and then the opportunities, I think, will open up for them. We have to give credit to RGV. They've done a really good job of pressuring them, bringing a lot of good energy, and then taking them off their game a little bit, T2.
Coronado mentioned during the week, the defender for RGV, the fact that, yes, you're playing on the road. They don't come in with a mentality to just try and earn a draw. They are coming to win and take 3 points from Portland Timbers, too. And here in the first quarter hour, they've certainly played that way and have the goal to prove it from Wilmer Cabrera Jr. in the 8th minute off the Martinez restart. For as much as we talk about the prowess of the RGV attack, they've also allowed 6 goals in the last 2 games. As this ball for Salazar too far out in front of him, and Leaker off his line to collect.
Yeah, just a little bit too easy through the midfield there. I think Williamson and Zambrano are getting spread apart a little bit too much, having a lot to do in the midfield when Cabrera's in there, when the outside backs are overlapping for RGV. And so I think T2 needs to bring some numbers back, get connected defensively, and just shore things up. And we talked to Cam Knowles before the game, Fletcher, about that. You know, he's disappointed in the performances of the defense so far. He knows they could be better. He just wants things to be tightened up a little bit, and that obviously comes from just being nice and connected, making sure that everybody is on the same page, and having leaders like Roy Miller back there, very important.
Martinez with it just inside the attacking half for the Toros. You mentioned the X factor for T2, you would argue tonight, is Tomas Konechny. His first appearance with T2 this season, made 2 appearances last year, scored a goal August 22nd against Orange County. But really needs to play well here tonight in that number 10 role, not only for T2 to get a result, but obviously being under contract with the MLS Timbers, he wants to show that he deserves minutes with the MLS club.
Yeah, and this is why these games are so important for young players to get out and show their stuff. And for a guy like Konechny, he's got to come up, show up, make sure he gets his touches in the ball. Very important for him tonight.
Foul committed by Portland. And this time the RGV player will remain down. It is Wilmer Cabrera Jr. and the foul called on Roy Miller, who will get a talking to from Farhad Dodko.
And Miller just going through the back of Cabrera, sees the ball, knows he wants to go win it, but also gets the man, clatters over him. It's a good call from Dodko. earns himself a yellow card as well.
We mentioned the 4 changes for T2. Roy Miller inserted in place of Arturo Dizpay, who left last match with a rib injury. So that one was kind of a forced substitution. Meanwhile, it's a midweek match. The MLS Timbers don't play till this weekend, so maybe an opportunity to give players an opportunity, players like Dairon Asprilla, Tomas Konechny, as well, to really show what they have, the improvements that they made throughout the course of the season. So big moments for them as a yellow card has been issued to Roy Miller for that challenge on Cabrera.
And back to Konechny really quickly. He's a guy who sometimes shows up and plays in a winger position for the Timbers. So coming to T2 and playing in that number 10, just going to be interesting to see how his movement is, and again how involved he's able to get, and what kind of role he plays for this team attacking wise.
Martinez standing over it. This one comes in. It falls towards the back post. Important right boot by Jadama. And the shot wide. That one looked dangerous for a moment from our angle, but Leaker wasn't too concerned as it flashed well wide of his left post.
RGV looking very dangerous on these flighted balls into the box there. Leaker's got to stay because that ball just kind of shows up a little bit too early in the box. Some shouts for a handball. Looks like it might have hit Zambrano's arm right there, but T2's got to step up a little bit more on these set pieces.
It's funny, we talked to Cam Knowles earlier today, and he thought that his team would have the advantage on set pieces given RGV's struggles in that position, but so far it's been the visitors that have taken advantage of those opportunities as T2 earns a throw.
And you look at just the size of the center backs with Adams and with Garcia. They've done a very, very good job of making good runs in the box, and when you're marking these big guys like T2 is, you have to really, really be physical with them and make sure that you throw them off. You don't have to win the ball, but make sure you throw them off when they're making those runs in the box.
Certainly felt that the T2 locker room was disappointed after erasing that 2-goal deficit to come back and take the lead against New Mexico United in the second half. As the handball called there on Williamson, they gave up the late goal right at the death. You can argue maybe it's a little bit of a hangover, although with 4 changes in the side, a lot of players who weren't there in that moment to experience that. You can always try and focus on the positives. Erasing a 2-goal deficit on the road against a team that you're tied with for first place in USL Championships Western Conference. You really like to see T2 start to grow more into this match. At points in home games earlier this year, this is where they would really grab the game by the scruff of the neck. Have yet to do so far, and all credit due to RGV for that to this point.
And T2 just looks a little bit late to things right now. The energy is just not quite there. RGV is just a little bit quicker with the passing, with the movement. I think they've got the midfield a bit confused as to who needs to go where, who needs to cover what in here. And then in their simple possession right here, just making sure they're making easy passes, not giving the ball away unnecessarily is going to be very important for them to start creating some chances.
It's fair to say they look a bit jumpy here through the first 22 minutes. Nice touch there by Langsdorff, although Sierakowski just can't quite chase it down. Samuel's using his speed to get to it first.
And sometimes, Fletcher, when you can't find an outlet, you can't find a ball through, sometimes a ball over the top is just what you need. Just get the ball over the top. Somebody makes a run into the corner like an Asprilla or a Langsdorff, and it just relieves pressure and it gives you the opportunity to push those numbers forward.
Could make an argument it's the first real adversity either of these teams have faced. Not only giving up the late goals, but also quick turnarounds for this match. As mentioned, RGV played on Thursday night, T2 played on Friday night. As Farfans called for the handball as Foster tried to lift it around the T2 left back.
And I'm watching Konechny in the midfield here. He's trying to overload this near side touchline, but what I would rather see is him go into the middle, because with RGV's pressure, they're bringing 2 up high with both Salazar and Cabrera, and it's leaving a big gap in the midfield. There's going to be a lot of space for him to operate. So if he stays a little bit more centrally, I think he can find a lot more of the play instead of going out wide.
Salazar, nice leave there for Enriquez. Pressured by Smith. Smith does well to knock it away from Enriquez, and here comes Asprilla. Can he use some of that speed to create an opportunity for a teammate? Play it square to Farfan.
And RGV just doing a good job of getting numbers behind the ball every time T2 wants to break out.
Cross in over the head of Asprilla, falls to the feet and blocked. That time it was Konechny with a shot, blocked though, and Derek able to track it down before it crossed the end line.
Yeah, well, that was a little bit better from T2. Just a nice, he starts off a nice long ball here, and then you find a ball into the box from Smith. Falls to the top of the box. Konechny's trying to go for the shot. Gets a little bit on it, but it hits Asprilla, and obviously it turns into nothing. But the Timbers do have to go a little bit more direct at times, like I said, in order to get some of these chances.
They win a throw in here. That goal allowed to Cabrera in the 8th minute, just the 4th that T2 have given up at home this year. But it gives the visitors the lead. Farfan's cross deflected. Now Konechny chest down 30 yards from goal. Play central for Zambrano. Quick touch over the top for Asprilla, who gets to it, cuts back on one man. Nice ball skills to keep it away. Then deflects, and Dodko has a couple touches on it.
Trying to get involved.
Now back out to Farfan. He's got space to cross. Hits it first time. Not the best from Farfan, but it does help T2 earn a corner kick.
This is so much better from T2, and again, it starts with Konechny finding the ball centrally and being able to be an outlet for the team, getting the ball wide, and then just some simple possession. Obviously, Dodko having a touch there, and then very, very good from T2 just to find the open pass, and this is a good possession for them.
So Konechny will strike, send it in. Finds the head of Asprilla, it looked like, but he couldn't steer it on frame, and it ends up in a goal kick. You'd like to see Asprilla get more involved as this game goes along. All the pace in the world.
Yeah, that's a ball that's well hit with a lot of pace there, but Asprilla's marked there by Garcia. Certainly, you feel like T2 Fletcher is growing into this game as we see it, just finding a little bit more possession, getting a little bit more confidence.
As Sierkowski does well to win it. Out to touch off of Samuels.
Just got to see. I don't think they've created a shot on goal yet, though. I think that's what's got to come next. But they just got to keep moving that ball around, being smart with it, and then again, be careful with the possession. You don't want to lose possession in your back third, especially to this RGV team.
Asprilla does well to shield and work his way around the defender. First time cross in off of Garcia and out for another corner kick.
Asprilla with some really good 1v1 play, just turns the defender there, goes straight to goal. He's got the right idea, kind of scuffs the pass a little bit, and it's defended out for a corner kick.
Asprilla's just saying, we've got to wait till about 75th, 80th minute, and then I'll give you my best stuff. '28th minute, Fletcher Johnson, Nat Borchers here with you. 1-0 in favor of RGV. This cross comes in, headed up in the air by Garcia. Jadama controls to Williamson. Pressure from RGV eventually goes out to touch for a T2 throw. Well done there by RGV to not get pinned in. They forced T2 basically all the way back to the midfield stripe. Release that pressure. Here's Konechny on the outside, plays Asprilla. Asprilla, corner of the box. First time cross. Derek jumped. I don't know if that was a shot or a cross, but either way, Derek looked like he got his big right paw on it, and it ends up in another corner kick.
Yeah, Tyrone Asprilla just showing how dangerous he can be here, out here on this wing, getting around, sizing up the defender, and deciding, hey, I might just hit this. I think it's a shot. Derek does get a little piece of that and goes out for a corner. Good call by the referee.
Dodko stop play for the moment. As Asprilla grabbing at his left hand, it looks like. Looks like he has something on his hand. I don't know if it's a ring or something else. It looks like he's trying to get it off to take it over to the fourth official.
Looks like he was kind of struggling to get that thing off.
Cross in, deflected by Sierakowski. Not able to get anything on it, though. And as trivial as that may seem, Nat, Dyron Asprilla had to be off for that corner kick opportunity, and he's one of the highest flyers that T2 has out there tonight.
I was just going to say, important. He takes care of those things before the game, so obviously he's not missing those key moments, because he can get up for those headers. He can just jump out of the room. We've seen him do it in multiple chances in different games, so he's very dangerous in those set pieces.
Marco Farfan, the Gresham native, just outside of Portland. Zambrano, long switch over to Smith. Able to control it in front of Coronado. And central for Williamson. Williamson leads USL in assists. Plays the ball towards Asprilla. Asprilla is offside. So some better play from T2 here over the course of the last 8 to 10 minutes. Still nothing to show for it yet, and still looking for that first shot on goal.
Yeah, just getting around the final third and being a little bit more composed is always important. One of the most difficult things to do, especially when you're a young team. But they're getting in the right areas right now. They just need to get that final ball right.
Shot from distance here, deflected, kind of took a funny bounce, and luckily easy enough for Leaker to deal with. As you can see, the field, about 75–80% of the field is in the shade now. Leaker's had the opportunity to take off the hat, as the sunshine really should be no issue for either keeper at this point, as Derek's goal is pretty much in the shade and Leaker's is fully in the shade.
And again, you're just seeing Williamson and Zambrano being matched up man-to-man by RGV. Somebody else needs to be the outlet man in order to just get the ball out of that back third and free up that possession for T2.
Nicely worked to get Williamson into space. Sierakowski back to Miller. Now over the top for Langsdorff, who's onside, controls it well inside the box. Has a chance to pick out his option, looks for Asprilla 35 yards from goal. Asprilla will take a touch and play it outside to Smith. Asprilla gets through 2 defenders, sends in the cross, and it's blocked by Coronado.
And that was a lovely ball out of the back from Roy Miller, just to find the foot of Foster Langsdorff, gets everybody up and gets that ball in that advanced position, and some good movement from T2 and Asprilla on that right wing.
And then Asprilla called for a silly foul. Had an opportunity for a deep throw-in, but pushed over Garcia. As we cross into the 33rd minute, Cameron Knowles in his second season as T2 manager. Successful tenure after having a great year one in which he went 17-13-4, off to a 4-1-3 start here in 2019, but finds his team trailing at this point.
And it was interesting talking to Cam today, Fletcher, just about his progress as a coach, and he was talking about game planning for New Mexico and how he might have overthought the game plan for them, tried a couple different formations, and then realized, hey, we're overthinking things here. Let's just stick to what's working. This 4-2-3-1, we've got the right players, we're getting results, and that's really just worked for him. So it's interesting to get into his mind, kind of see the tweaks he's making in this squad, and how he's kind of coming back to, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
They've had incredible consistency in the lineup throughout the course of this season thus far, which is, I think, certainly been a reason, or at least one of the reasons why they've had the success that they've had. Players know their roles, know what they're supposed to do. Familiarity Certainly has breeded confidence in this group. Konechny top of the box, gets around one man, can't quite get there in front of Garcia. And it's cleared away only momentarily as far as Williamson, who misses his touch. Farfan does well to track back, win it, and then earns the foul from Salazar.
And if you talk about consistency in these results, I just have to go back to Zambrano and Williamson, just the midfield engine for this group. And Zambrano has been so good covering ground, spraying balls, making sure that the possession has been good for the team. And then Williamson has been so composed, making sure he's threading that final pass. Good rhythm there in that midfield. I think those two players have been the most important if I'm looking at consistency for this T2 team.
Deep throw in for RGV in their own half. Finds the head of Salazar, but then Zambrano decides to hit from distance and well high. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday, May 8th at 5 p.m. for the ESPN USL Championship Game of the Week on ESPN2, showcasing the Tampa Bay Rowdies traveling to the Music City to take on Nashville SC in a contest featuring 2 playoff hopefuls. It's the week's best match on the Game of the Week, May 8th at 5 p.m. on ESPN2. The 30-year-old Derek gets us back underway. Through ball for Langsdorff nearly makes its way to him, but Garcia's done enough to win it. Now ball over the top looking for Foster. Farfan was there. Plays it back to Leaker. Well, Rio Grande Valley looking for their second ever win against T2. Have never beat them in their own stadium, HEB Park, but have won here at Merlo Field back in April of 2016. The lone win for RGV in this series. Sierakowski plays Farfan on the overlapping run. First time cross, and again blocked by Samuels.
Yeah, T2 finding space on these wings, which is pretty much what RGV is giving them, but they just can't find a way through them. It's not, the final pass just hasn't been there. The movement has not been there. They need to do something a little bit differently to get this goal, to get this first chance.
And Ekney's taken the first few corner kicks. This time it'll be Eric Williamson. Langsdorff standing right next to Tyler Derrick in the 6-yard box. Williamson floats it towards the back post. Derrick doesn't get to it. Konechny able to send it back in, but popped up in the air, and Derrick with the easy catch. Quickly back underway. Long ball forward. Farfan wins the header in front of Foster. Brought down by Smith. Nicely done by T2 to make sure no mistakes happen there. Williamson works his way around Cabrera. Williamson looking better than he did early in the match. Here's Sierakowski, defended by Samuels. Cross comes in, but again, gets by the first man, not the second though. Although Cabrera's touch too heavy, and Williamson wins it back. Although strong work rate by Cabrera, finally settled by T2. Spree into space for Farfan. Williamson with the nifty cross, looking for Langsdorff. Adams clears away. Into the final 8 minutes plus stoppage time here in the first half, as Ryan Jung waves and raises that flag with his left arm for an RGV throw.
And if T2 are going to go the wide route, they're going to have to start getting more runners into the box.
Here's a Spree at top of the box. His shot blocked by Adams. Zambrano does well to win it again. T2 have had the bulk of the possession here over the last 5 to 10 minutes. But again, still only 3 shots total to show for it and none on goal. Farfan 1v1 versus Samuels. Farfan. Want to see Farfan thrive in those moments. The 20-year-old on contract with the MLS Timbers. This time floated in. Header won by Garcia, up in the air by Martinez. And Sierakowski gets there. Williamson, great touch to get around one, get around another, sends it towards Asprilla. Almost want Williamson to maybe be a little bit more selfish here, and here comes RGV on the counter. Malik Foster making a big run down the near side. He'll get on the end of this one, but Miller over quickly to defend. Foster dribbles central, surveys his options. And no danger there. Great work by T2 to get back defensively, make sure there was no real counterattack opportunity.
Yeah, and on the other end for T2, I think it was really well worked there. Eric Williamson getting in a situation that you want to see him in at the top of the 18. Certainly would rather see him take that shot versus try to thread that needle right there. But some better stuff from T2. I think they've gained a lot of confidence with some of this possession. Once they get into the final third, though, I think they just need to be a little bit better, but maybe a little bit more patience, keep moving the ball. This RGV's team's going to tire out. The more they have the ball, the more they move it.
Foul there as Asprilla goes down. So what's changed other than having more of the possession? Has there been an adjustment that you've seen from Cam Knowles or the players on the field that's helped them gain more possession of the ball?
Well, it just seems like they've settled down a little bit in the game, and Zambrano and Williamson have been on the ball a little bit more, and they've been confident in their touches. And I think RGV has lost a little bit of that initial energy it had to start the game. And I don't think they've been very good in their possession, so it's given T2 the opportunity to have a lot more of the ball.
Gerson Echeverry mentioned to us the importance of minimizing T2's ability to control the midfield. They did it very well for the first 15 or 20 minutes, but as you mentioned, now Portland's been much more dynamic in the midfield, and it's led to more possession and more quarter chances, half chances, but still nothing golden in front of the net as of yet, with just 4.5 minutes plus stoppage time remaining here in the first 45.
And I think if they move the ball just a little bit quicker, especially through that midfield, especially in the back, they can unlock this RGV team. But credit to RGV, they've done a good job of getting numbers behind the ball. They've looked very balanced versus previous games we've seen them play, where they've given up a lot of goals.
Here's Konechny going 1v1 versus Samuels. Ball's played out, and not a good sign for T2. Roy Miller coming up a bit limp. Looks like he's holding his groin.
Yeah, that's never a good sign when you see a player like Roy Miller, a center back. You hold that area. It's obviously a difficult one. You wonder if he's going to be able to continue in the game.
And it looks like Max Ornstill is up and getting ready. So on Friday night, Arturo Dizpé had to be removed because of an injury, the center back for T2, in the 38th minute. And just 3 minutes later here tonight, Ornstill will once again be the substitute to come on for another center back in Roy Miller, going down with what appears to be something that will force him to come out of this match. It's yet to be seen if they will indeed make the substitution. Ornstill does have his jersey on. Miller shakes the hand of Aiden Brown, and indeed here comes the substitution for T2 in the 43rd minute. The veteran center back, stabilizing presence for this T2 side, Roy Miller, the 34-year-old, off in favor of Max Ornstill.
Yeah, Max Ornstill comes in. He's got a ton of experience. You watch him train, Fletcher, and he's just got this stately look about him. He's very good on the ball. He doesn't seem to lose his composure when under pressure. He talks a lot, so obviously difficult to lose Roy Miller, but I think bringing in Ornstill, T2 will be okay.
Ball central for Langsdorff, controls off his chest, tries to touch it with his right boot to control it, but doesn't get anything onto it. T2 keeping the pressure up here, though. In for Williamson. Williamson tries to get too cute, and Foster just goes right around him to take it away. Cabrera's touched loose, though, and gives it back to Asprilla. Asprilla shoots from distance. Couldn't get much on it. This time will work his way around Adams. All the way down to the end line. Send the cross in and directly to Adams once again, who clears. Not too far though as Jama heads back into Konechny. Konechny, nice switch over to Farfan. Can he get on to the end of it? Just too far out in front of him.
And that pass just kind of sums up, I think, that the half for T2 offensively. They've gotten into good areas. They've been able to move the ball around okay, but just that final pass, that switching ball, that 10-yard pass just hasn't been there for them. So they're going to have to figure that one out at halftime. That's going to be very important, I think, for Cam Knowles to talk to the team about just getting in that final third and just being a little bit better with the ball.
It's another push forward from T2. Espria with it in front of Adams. Espria's had many more opportunities here in the last half hour, but hasn't done much with them. This time place it behind Nathan Smith. And easy stuff for RGV to pick off and take the other direction. Foster wasn't making the run forward. Farfan chest down to himself.
And I think if I'm Gerson Echeverry, I'm saying we need to get a little bit more possession, guys. I think that after they scored the goal and, you know, since pretty much the 25th minute or so, it just seems like it's been all T2 from a possession standpoint. Obviously, they haven't created a lot of chances, but the longer they sit back and absorb pressure, the more opportunities T2 are going to have to get after them.
All over the top, Foster is offside.
It does remind me a little bit of the way the Houston Dynamo play, Fletcher, though. They don't really care a whole lot, you know, about the possession game. They usually leave a few of their fast guys high, and if they get the first goal, they just kind of wait and sit and counterattack. That's kind of what you see them doing right now.
We'll play 1 minute of stoppage time here at the end of the first half, and we are into that minute. 45 seconds left to go. Well, it appears that T2 will be trailing at the half. This will be the 5th time that they've trailed at the half. 1-1-2 in those matches. As Foster making the big run forward, and then a yank by Farfan. You better believe this will be a card from Farhad Dodko. The question is, will it be yellow or will it be red? Gerson Echeverry incensed that it's only a yellow card. It looked as though Foster was potentially behind everyone. Farfan shown the yellow card though, and that is a huge moment in this match.
And RGV just finding that counterattack. No pressure on the ball. The runner comes from the winger. Marco Farfan just having to drag down the runner there. Foster, I believe it was. He knew exactly what he's doing. He's very, very lucky not to get sent off for that situation, Fletcher, because it could be argued that he is the last defender. Now, obviously, in that situation, it looked like Orangeville was close enough to potentially make a play on the ball, but I'm not so sure. I think that it was very, very close, and I think Farfan might have got away with one there.
Is there any decision-making in Dodko's mind that Leaker is so far out that he can potentially get to the ball first?
Shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. He's the last defender. He's the last defender, and he obviously is pulling the attacker down.
Here's Martinez, plays it to Foster in the box, defended by Williamson. Williamson does well to block, and it looks like T2 will have one more opportunity to bring it forward. We've played over 2 minutes at the end of the first half in stoppage time. Konechny has a chance to cross. Martinez is there, gets the cross off straight to Derek, and that will be the end of the first half. Well, it was a slow start for T2, but over the last 30 minutes really grew into the match. Certainly have some encouraging things potentially to take to the break. But it's RGV with the 1-0 lead on the back of an 8th minute goal from Wilmer Cabrera Jr. We'll head to halftime. After a little bit of a break, come back, take a look at the first half highlights, get some thoughts from Nat Borchers on the first half, and get you set for the second half of action as well. Portland Timbers 2-0, Rio Grande Valley Toros FC 1.
Flemings around 1, around 2. Still Junior Flemings. He's going to have a go. Excellent from Junior Flemings. Here's Spees looking for the curler, and what a save from Curtis Anderson. Guadarrama wants it and shot. What a goal from Guadarrama.
The cross deflected. What a stop by Brown in the top corner.
Another chance here for New Mexico, and they've got the equalizer.
Chadama will strike it with his right foot. Whistle blows. Steps. Strikes. And saved by Rodriguez.
Here's Woodbine into the box. Van Schake's there. Van Shake!
And again, Tyler Irving grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck as Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it. Langsdorff, header, and McCarthy once more. Big shot and score! Cross, oh, what a save by Matt Pickens! Here come the Rowdies. Guenzati's shot, score!
Now Morton's coming up. It's headed and in.
The flick. Could it be 2? Yes, it is. That's Hellman.
Here's Banks. Banks from distance, and that's knocked away.
Gallardo. At the top of the box. Lee gets a touch, still driving and sends it. And into the back of the net.
It's like Joe Gallo took almost on the entire defense there. Stand left for the shot.
Chipped in, headed away by Lockby. Second chance coming, diving, stopped by Fitzgerald.
Minnesota and with Jacksonville. Nunez, and that finds the side of the net. Most of these, he takes this one.
Halftime here at Merlo Field on the campus of the University of Portland as Portland Timbers 2 find themselves trailing their visitors Rio Grande Valley Toros FC 1-0 here at the break. Welcome back into the broadcast booth once again. Nat Borchers, Fletcher Johnson here with you. And Nat, as we look back at the first half, RGV came out strong, but as the match went along, T2 played much better. Yeah, it seems like RGV came out and really had a lot of energy. They pressed them high, and it was difficult for T2 to play out, but they really grew into the game. They had more possession, but still struggled really with that final pass. All right, let's go ahead and look back at our first half highlights. And as we get things underway, it was an early goal for RGV in the 8th minute. Yeah, and it was a very fortunate touch there from Cabrera. He gets the ball down on the ground, but he's never going to miss from there. Leaker with no chance there to corral that ball, to get that ball out of the net, and it's a very good finish from Cabrera, and that's the first goal for RGV. Yeah, Cabrera's second goal of the season gives them the lead. Then an opportunity for Portland a little later on. Yeah, Portland really struggled to create opportunities. This is one of the few that they had. Didn't have any shots on goal, but Espria was very bright on this wing, going at players 1v1. This is a nice effort from him from the wing area. He really likes to line up those center backs, drive it across the face of the goal, see what happens, forces the keeper Derek into a save. Tough moment there, and then an even more dangerous moment here that could come back to be a big part of this match. Yeah, and as I'm seeing this even more, I think this should probably be a sending off for Marco Farfan. He is the last defender. He knows exactly what he's doing. Pulls on the shirt of the runner Foster there. It's a great ball out of the midfield. Fortunate only to come away with a yellow card in this one. As we wrap up the highlights and we look at the first half stats, and even on shots, 5 apiece, 3 saves for Jake Leaker to 1 for Tyler Derrick, and T2 with the majority of the fouls in this one as well. And you have to give a lot of credit to RGV in this game. They've done a really good job of defending the box and making sure it's difficult for T2 to play through that middle of the pitch. Possession heavily in favor of T2 as well, over 60% to the home side. Well, it takes us to our USL storylines, and a couple different ones to look at. T2, as we mentioned, on the 4-game unbeaten run, and what an impressive run it has been, but on the ropes here tonight with the way things stand right now. Meanwhile, Providence Park inching closer to being finished. The MLS Timbers will play their first match there on June 1st against LAFC, and a lot of fun to watch the stadium come together, and I know fans here in Portland clamoring to see what it looks like. And Nat, you had an opportunity to take a look. Yeah, I had an opportunity with my mates Jake Zivin and Ross Smith, and man, it was a special one to walk up into the new construction and see the different areas for the fans and to see the different views, and I just got goosebumps just sitting there thinking, wow, as a fan, how amazing it's going to be once the seats are fully taken and everybody's in there enjoying a soccer match. 93 years later since it opened, certainly looking much different than it did back then in 1926. And finally, Eric Williamson, off the back of his brace on Friday night against New Mexico FC, or New Mexico United, I should say, on Team of the Week, and it will be important that he puts together a solid 45 minutes here tonight. Yeah, he was really the second half. He was really the catalyst for that comeback result they had in New Mexico. So really want him to get more involved as this game moves on. Eric Williamson start to get more control of the middle of the field and get him in some more advanced areas to create some chances for T2. Farhad Dodko blows his whistle. We're underway in the second 45 minutes. T2 and RGV as Portland once again having to play from behind. They're undefeated when giving up the first goal this season. This is the 5th time that they've done it this year. We'll see if they can make it a perfect 5 for 5 with no losses, giving up the first goal. T2 attacking towards the north end of Merlo Field now, as Max Ornstill, the 42nd minute substitute for T2, coming on in place of Roy Miller, getting his first real action on the ball. Smith able to win the header in front of Coronado, and Espria chases down in the corner. Now Smith will send the cross towards the back post, touched by Konechny. Can't get to it though before it rolls across the end line. And T2 opting to go a little bit more direct to open up this half. A couple of nice switching balls, getting the ball to the wing, and then you get Espria on the ball, passing over to Smith. Smith with the cross into the box, finding there the Konechny on the edge of the box there. It's a good first touch, but not enough to keep the ball in play. Konechny, of course, acquired back on July 17th of 2018 on loan from San Lorenzo down in Argentina. Had a couple appearances with T2 last year, already a couple appearances this year with the MLS Timbers, but still looking to really find himself here in the States, as Jadama has had a good night, notably because we haven't said his name that much.
Yeah, as a center back, you never want to be mentioned too often unless you're scoring goals or making big defensive plays. But Jadama he's been a rock back there for T2 this whole season, and certainly he's been solid this game so far.
Farfan with a big run forward, though it's stopped by RGV.
RGV coming down a little bit more into their shape in this half. You see Cabrera coming down and trying to follow Zambrano, trying to really prevent T2 from creating that rhythm, that buildup in the midfield.
Spria plays it again behind Farfan, but he's able to track this one down.
See Zambrano being tracked again by Cabrera. You can see RGV just doing a nice job of making sure it's predictable for him, making balls go wide. And I think for T2, if that's the way the game is going to be played, is getting the balls into the wings, okay, that's fair enough. Then you're going to have to get more runners into the box when you get the balls into those wide areas, because otherwise, if it's just Foster Langsdorff trying to make a run with those two big center backs, it's going to be very difficult for him to find any opportunities.
It's been a quiet night for Foster thus far, as Spria shields the man off. It's called for a foul. Andrew Marhart raised that flag, calling for the foul. Spria can't believe it, but Coronado remains down, holding his face.
Spria just making this run into the channel and just bodies off Coronado. Not a whole lot there in that for me. I think Coronado makes a bit more of that than it should be. It didn't seem like Spria raised his elbow or put his shoulder into the player. He's just trying to use his body to shepherd that ball and to try to get control of that ball.
Certainly didn't look like any part of Spria caught the face of Coronado.
I will say, though, that some of the smarter players do play that game. Liam Ridgewell being one of them. He played that game to perfection whenever there was any sort of 50-50 challenge in his side of the field, and he always seemed to win that call from the referee.
Your former partner there at the center back spot with the MLS Timbers, Liam Ridgewell.
Guy he had ice in his veins. It seemed like did things like that I would never dare to do. He seemed to always get away from it, get away with it.
Langsdorff gets his head to it, but can't steer it to anyone in a T2 shirt. So T2 looking to chase this result as Zambrano cuts out the pass, finds Spria, back to Zambrano.
That's really good pressure there from T2, making things predictable, making the center backs try to make the game. As you can see there, the center backs aren't great at making the game. Orange still makes the mistake there.
And numbers here if RGV hurry. Smith tracking Enriquez. Smith does well to at least stop the attack momentarily. Now Enriquez will work his way around Smith. Jadama comes over to help. Ball back towards the penalty spot. Foster with it, lays it off for Martinez, shoots, and well wide.
And T2 just trying to capitalize off the mistake, or sorry, RGV capitalizing off the mistake from T2 there. Gets the opportunity that just bounces past late off there in the box. Doesn't get that one on goal. But RGV showing that they can be dangerous on the counterattack. And again, we talked to Cam Knowles before the game. Taking care of the ball was one of his priorities in this game, one of his keys to the game. So T2 just needs to continue to clean those things up.
All Spria here on a big run forward, but then decides to shoot, and that was going to be from a incredibly difficult angle.
Well, we've seen him pull it off from some interesting angles, obviously with the Timbers, and you think back to that goal against FC Dallas in the 2015 playoffs. He scored an absolute scorcher from the edge of the box, but right there, I just don't think is a high percentage chance for Esprit to score.
Well, and it seems in those types of moments, he's dribbled through 4 or 5 guys. Chances are there's a bit of a scramble back from the Toros there to try and get back in position. If he can square that ball up back across the box, you never know who might be there for T2, especially when Foster Langsdorff is there, who scored 14 goals last year, already a handful this year. want to give your teammates an opportunity to try and create something.
Yeah, and in these opportunities, he just needs to be a little bit more unselfish with the ball.
Here comes Konechny down the near side. He's got Williamson, and will lay it off. Central for Zambrano, 35 yards away. Over the top for Farfan. Farfan controls with his chest once, his head twice. And eventually rolls out to touch.
I think the tendency, if you're coming from the Timbers to T2, sometimes the tendency as a veteran player is that you want to try to boss a game. You want to try to be the man, when it's better just to play the simple pass, just to pass and move, to share the ball a little bit more, and especially with a team like T2 who's done so well, certainly want to integrate yourself a little bit more in that manner.
T2 is pressed high here early in the second half. They've won a lot of possession because of it. RGV able to break this time, though. Important touch by Farfan to get it back to Leaker, as Foster was making the big run forward.
We haven't talked a lot about Salazar, but he's done a very, very good job of dropping deep at times and bringing a center back with him. It's really unbalanced the back line for T2, and it's given them, RGV, the opportunity to kind of run in behind and find some more spaces.
Martinez controls off the punt forward from Leaker. Now Enriquez nearly able to pick out, make that Cabrera was nearly able to pick out Enriquez. Was cut out by Zambrano. Now Adams. Bit of back and forth here over the last couple minutes. They watered the field at halftime. You see the water spurting up off the field. Williamson finds Langsdorff, who was offside. Better stuff there from T2. Langsdorff couldn't quite check his run.
Yeah, and this is what you want to see from Eric Williamson, just getting in at the top of those boxes and just threading those final passes. Does a really good job of trying to find the open man, which is Sierakowski. Just a little bit offsides there in that instance, but it's what I talked about in the first half, Fletcher, getting Williamson a little bit more advanced so he can find those opportunities and play those final balls. CT2 pressing a little bit higher in this half, showing a sense of urgency. You can imagine that the manager, Cam Knowles, had a little discussion with them about having some more urgency and, again, just being better in the final third with the ball, finding the right passes.
Yeah, seems like there's opportunities to make RGV uncomfortable along that back line. They didn't really do it much in the first half. Trying it a little bit more here in the second half. Foster gets behind Ornstill, crosses it in, finds Salazar, who makes an absolute meal of it, putting it over way high. Salazar will want that one back. Couldn't miss the other night. That was the best opportunity of the second half for either team.
And this is a warning shot for the T2 back line. This is a great run out of midfield for Foster. He just cuts the ball across the box, and Salazar has to do better with that, get that on frame, but they just did that so easily, like a knife through butter there. RGV very, very good with the ball. The counterattack, the game's getting a little bit stretched for T2. They're going to have to make sure they manage this as they're continuing to push numbers forward.
Nice work tracking back there by Konechny to win the ball. Williamson gets there in front of Martinez. And then Sierakowski's taken down on the midfield stripe. Two men pressuring Nathan Smith. Advantage played here. Seems like RGV is a step faster and has an extra body there whenever they need it. This time, though, Cabrera is offside. Get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for Portland Timbers 2 and then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on Portland Timbers 2's next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club.
On that last play, Fletcher, Smith and Langsdorff having a little bit of a go at each other. Smith thinking that Langsdorff needs to make a little bit more of an opportunity for himself to be open for that option for that passing. And you can see T2 just not able to find those breaking lines type of balls. They're able to get over the top, but they're not able to get through this RGV defense.
Williamson can't control the square pass. Picked up by Enriquez. Salazar in front of Jadama. Despite the pressure from T2, last 5 to 7 minutes, RGV's done well to manage that. And in some senses, win possession and even have big moves forward.
Yeah, and T2, you can see the body language of some of these players right now is that of frustration. RGV has done a really good job of just pinching the middle, making it difficult for Zambrano and Williamson to get on the ball, and that's just what T2's used to doing. They're used to finding those spaces and letting those guys run the midfield. They're not able to do that, so just trying to find different ways to be dangerous and to move the ball.
Spria can't control.
It was an interesting throw-in before. Not sure if it was a foul throw or not, but Smith went ahead and played it. I was never much for throwing balls in, so I'm not really sure how to do that.
Salazar lets it roll through his legs. It finds Cabrera, the goal scorer. Cabrera's back heel too far out in front of Enriquez. Sun is set here on a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. About 70 degrees today. Still about 65 degrees right now. It's cold in the evenings, warm during the day, and an extended stretch of nice weather here. As Derek makes sure that one goes out across the end line from the Smith header.
And RGV will be happy for these types of plays when the ball just goes over their end line. They're able to take a breath, get a goal kick. Being on the road, defending a lead, you want to just start to manage the game a little bit. These final 30 minutes, see them wanting to take the air out of the game a little bit, have a little bit of gamesmanship, and that's going to be important for them to get the result. On the other side, T2 is going to want to speed things up, play a little bit quicker, keep the ball going.
T2 already having made one substitution, so just 2 remaining for Cam Knowles. Williamson comes up hobbled a bit. He tried to work that one around Ramilio Hernandez. And Williamson still limping a bit as the ball's on the other side of the field.
Good work from Orange still there to win those challenges and stay with that play.
Ball down the line for Konechny. Does well to keep it in front of Garcia.
And that's really well defended as well on RGV's end. A little good 1v1 defending on both sides. And Konechny just trying again to kind of get in those channels. He's really struggled to find this game, Fletcher, to really be a factor in this game. Tough to find space, and again, I have to give a lot of credit to RGV as well for really compacting that midfield area.
Over to Smith. Couple prep touches, central for Williamson. Another defender coming to help. Williamson earns the throw. Just seems like they're a step slow. That ball needs to come in earlier from Smith or Williamson before that second man comes over to help.
Yeah, sometimes it's just as simple as playing a little one-two touch. Get the ball, give it. Get the ball, give it. Play a little bit quicker. Switch the point of attack.
This cross comes in, nearly finds Spria. Now it's Williamson, takes the shot. It's blocked by Derek. Gets his right hand to it and cleared out of danger. Best chance of the night for T2. Came an hour in. Now a foot race between Adams and Langsdorff.
And T2 just moving the ball a little bit quicker. Ball goes into the box, misses Espria's head, but it falls to Williamson, who has a crack at it. It's a fantastic save there from Derek. He gets that right paw up, stretches to make that save. I think if Williamson can keep that ball a little bit closer to the deck, he might have a higher percentage chance of scoring. But a great first real opportunity for T2 on goal. We're in the 60th minute now, and they're finally starting to open things up.
Zambrano's called for the foul. Cam Knowles not happy with that call. As Zambrano, a 24-year-old from Venezuela, is whistled.
Yeah, coming in through the back there of Cabrera. I think that's a pretty clear foul from Zambrano, the guy who's covering so much ground in this game and never afraid to get into a challenge.
This ball's off Espria out to touch. Farfan does well to win it, gets it back for his troubles from Williamson. Farfan with a big run forward. He's got options, looks to play Sierakowski, but he didn't really get enough on it to get it to Sierakowski, and in the end, the RGV defender's able to recover.
Yeah, it felt like the better option might have been to play the runner Konechny. He has had a little bit more space in there. It was a little bit tight down the center there. But it's a good counterattack from Marco Farfan, taking it upon himself to run that ball over to the other side of the RGV defense.
Salazar does well to get it to Cabrera, though. Jadama is right there, Johnny on the spot, but then it looks like Cabrera will be called, or Jadama rather, will be called for the foul and receive a caution for his troubles. RGV has just been all over the place. Third yellow card issued to a T2 player here through 64 minutes.
When you play a high line like this and players are able to get in behind your line, like RGV does, you're playing catch up, and Modou Jadama just has to make that foul there. Gets in. Cabrera does a really good job of using his body and commits the foul, and a deserved yellow card, in my opinion.
So Martinez will stand over this, already has the assist on the Cabrera goal in the 8th minute.
RGV have been dangerous on these set pieces with Garcia. And then you look at Adams running through on that far back post area, not being picked up right now.
Martinez trying to pick out Adams, gets something to it, and Leaker dives down to his left. Wasn't on frame, just to make sure it didn't roll out across the end line for a corner kick. Quickly thrown out to Smith, who's got acres of space in front of him. Great first touch with his right foot. Now sprays it towards the back post. Header won by RGV. Didn't really go anywhere, sat right there on the top of the box, but Toro's defender first to get to it.
It seems like RGV had just been first to those crosses into the box all night. They're just very, very big, very, very smart with their box defending. Garcia and Adams have had a very good game, in my opinion.
Sierakowski slides down, shouts for a handball. No whistle from Farhad Dodko. And now Williamson will cross it in, lift it up. And Garcia there to make the clearance, and it's out for a deep throw. Before we see the throw, we'll see the second substitution of the night for T2. Tomas Konechny will come out after 66 minutes, and the youngster Christian Ojeda will come in, the 20-year-old from Argentina. He's been a spark plug having started the last 2 matches, had an assist against New Mexico United. He'll come on, but before we talk Ojeda, Nat, your thoughts on the performance from Tomas Konechny?
Yeah, I think he really struggled to get involved in this game, playing in that number 10 position, especially with RGV, the way they defended that midfield. I think it was just tough for him. He was having to get outside into the channels to find space, and I think it just wasn't his night.
Smith earns T2 the corner, and Williamson will take. This was a point Cam Knowles thought his team could take advantage of set piece opportunities. Williamson will spray it towards a penalty spot, goes all the way through. Asprilla rose to try and hit it with his head, but was over the top of him and ends up in a RGV throw on the far side.
And he really fizzes that ball in there. Eric Williamson just kind of hits it like he would hit a shot. I'd like to see that ball with a little bit more bend if it were me personally, but I think that Asprilla, he's good enough to get on the end of those things, and as well as some other players for T2.
Portland quickly earns it back though as we move into the 68th minute. Just joining us, Fletcher Johnson, Nat Borchers here with you at Merlot Field. Week 9 of the USL Championship season beginning tonight with a pair of matches, including this one right here between Portland Timbers 2 and Rio Grande Valley Toros FC. Coronado shields out in front of Smith.
Yeah, and again, it just seems like the ball's just, RGV is just dictating where they want the ball to go, and the ball is always going into those wide areas, and it's just been difficult for T2 to find any options out there and make good decisions. The crossing of the ball just hasn't been good enough, and trying to get to the middle of the pitch has been difficult for him.
Williamson's nutmeg, but wins it back though. Him and Martinez, the 230s, have gone back and forth with one another a couple times here in the second half. Sierkowski ends up in a goal kick.
That was really a nice defensive play there. As you can see here, the number 16 just getting out there, Samuels, and making that tackle. Ball looks to have come off of Sierkowski. That's really well defended. You just get out there and put pressure on the ball. And again, it just seems like RGV very, very good, energetic defensively, making it difficult for T2. It's going to take something special, I think, Fletcher, for T2 to break this team down tonight.
Here comes Foster Langsdorff, plays it off of Adams, and another corner kick for T2.
And as we spoke with Cam Knowles about, they thought set pieces were going to be an opportunity for them to take advantage. And I think with Garcia in the lineup, he's such a big guy. He's done a really good job of defending on these things. The movement's got to be a little bit better, and the service has to be, in between that near 6 and the top of in the penalty spot.
Well, let's see if Williamson spins this one a little bit more. This one's powered in there once again. Jadama gets his head to it, but can't keep it down.
And it's delivered with power and pace, and Jadama just getting up there. Garcia does a really good job, I think, or the defender, I don't think it was Garcia, of just making sure that Jadama just couldn't get his head over the ball. T2 just can't get a chance on that.
T2 seemingly getting closer and closer, but really still not having trouble Tyler Derrick at all, other than Eric Williamson's shot that came in the 61st minute that forced Tyler Derrick into at least a touch away. Now Sierkowski tries to find Langsdorff with his head across the box. Eventually finds his feet once again, and he's fouled this time by Enriquez. RGV has not fouled much tonight. It's their 3rd foul of the evening, but another set piece chance for Portland.
And Sierkowski and Asprilla have switched sides now. Sierkowski coming over to this near side touchline, and Sierkowski just doing a good job of keeping the ball between him and the man, and a little bit overzealous there from the number 11, Enriquez.
Enriquez came back over quickly to make sure that Williamson was not going to take that free kick. And now Dodko laying down the shaving cream. Make sure that Williamson has the space to hit this one. '71st minute. T2 have been in search of the equalizer for 64 minutes. Will it be here? Williamson well struck, and Jadama has leveled the score in the 72nd minute.
T2's needed some leaders to step up, and this is one of those leaders. This is Madhu Jadama just doing a great job at that back post of connecting with that ball. It's a fantastically whipped ball in from Eric Williamson, goes over everybody. The line from RGV is just too low, and he's able just to get a little something on that, get the ball in the back of the net. Tyler Derrick's got absolutely no chance, and it's a big-time equalizer for T2.
So after the goal, RGV will make their first substitution of the night. The goal scorer for the Toros, Wilmer Cabrera Jr. will come off. And Nico Lemoyne, the 19-year-old from Livermore, California, will come on in his place. And we've got a whole new ball game. 1-1 with 18 minutes plus stoppage time to play, and T2 have done it once again, coming back from a goal down.
And it should have come as no surprise that Eric Williamson is involved there, and certainly you think that the way RGV had defended, they had been so disciplined up at that point in time, but defending a careless foul on Sierakowski there by Enriquez obviously puts them into trouble.
And nearly an opportunity for Portland coming the other direction.
It doesn't look like a whole lot there in that opportunity. I think that the referee gets that one wrong. T2 should be going the other way.
So now how do these two sides respond to that goal? Farfan takes it away from Foster momentarily. Now Foster squats down, looks to be in a bit of pain. We'll continue on. That was Williamson's 6th assist of the season in his 8th match played. Leads USL now in assists.
It's incredible, Eric Williamson. He's just been such a hungry player this season. He's just been so bright, so energetic, so good on the ball. And just to see his maturity from last year to this year has been phenomenal.
RGV certainly, I don't know about you, Nat, but they look a little more nervy than they did before.
It's amazing how a goal can just inject life into a team. We saw it with the Timbers against Columbus and against Toronto, and you see it with this T2 team right now, just playing with a bit more energy, a bit more urgency. And just so important. Scoring a goal just gives your team so much belief, and it just changes the way the game is.
Seems as well, you could say that Asprilla and Sierakowski switching sides seem to change the dynamic in this match a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think Cam Knowles was just looking for any way through this defense, and sometimes rotating those wingers can give you a little bit different look, and especially against the outside backs for RGV. And I think it was just a careless foul from RGV that leads to that set piece, and it's brilliant service from Eric Williamson.
Farfan plays it out to touch. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday, May 8th at 5 p.m. for the ESPN USL Championship Game of the Week on ESPN2, showcasing the Tampa Bay Rowdies traveling to the Music City to take on Nashville SC in a contest featuring 2 playoff hopefuls. It's the week's best match on the Game of the Week, May 8th at 5 p.m. on ESPN2. We'll see the second substitute of the night for RGV here in just a moment. Zambrano nearly cuts that out and takes it the other direction, but just a little too far of a stretch for him. RGV would like to have done better with that opportunity. Samuels and Lemoyne going back and forth and ends up in nothing. Well, the second substitution comes for RGV. It will be the 24-year-old Panamanian Carlos Small coming on in place of Michael Salazar. A hat trick for Salazar on Thursday night. His best opportunity from about 6 yards away. He skied over the bar. Be disappointed in not putting that one in the back of the net, especially after T2 was able to find the equalizer.
He will be, but certainly a striker's job isn't always just scoring goals, and the way he was able to use the space in between the center backs and draw them out in certain instances for RGV, I think he showed himself well. Obviously, he has the one opportunity to score. He doesn't take it, but still utilizing some very, very good movements in this game.
Pass backwards from T2 results in a quick throw-in opportunity for RGV.
Espria should be better there. That's just a careless ball. He's got to be a bit sharper, especially in these final minutes of this game, to give T2 an opportunity to get the 3 points.
Adams plays all the way back to Derek. Go high over midfield. And the offside flag was up on Small. Who's up, who's down? Where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL Championship Power Rankings, only on USLChampionship.com. T2 coming into tonight, we're third in USL in goals scored with 18 total. He picked up their 19th about 5 minutes ago thanks to Mo Jadama. Jadama's been a lightning rod for this team, his third goal of the season in his 9th appearance. Bad turnover here from T2, Small. And Ornstill tracking back to play it back to Leaker.
Yeah, it's amazing what a goal from a defender can do for your squad as well. Madhu Jadama has done such a good job this year of being solid defensively. He's been very good passing out of the back, and to be able to score 3 goals already in this season is amazing. I think I only scored 3 goals in a whole season once, so he's already there, and he can probably triple that tally this year if he keeps going.
He's done it in a multitude of ways, as Sierakowski's nutmeg there. Nice work by Coronado to keep possession, finds Enriquez central. Certainly has the feel of a match that has more goals in it. We'll see if either team can make that true. Nice pass through for Foster, and a kick save by Leaker.
And RGV just overloading this far right side, and Foster getting in on goal. That's an important save there from Leaker. Looks like Foster just going for the 5-hole there in between Leaker's legs. He does a good job of staying low and waiting for that shot, making sure that doesn't go through his legs.
Corner kick from Martinez. Jadama wins the header. Williamson trying to carry it out, but plays it out to touch. Lemoyne goes in for Coronado, back to Adams. Across the end line as we cross into the final 10 minutes here at Merlot Field, plus stoppage time. Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers with you. Been an intriguing matchup throughout. We expected a fair amount of goals, maybe a bit surprised only to see 1-1, but both of these teams have stood up defensively throughout the course of the first 80 minutes here tonight.
Well, if you go back to RGV's most recent result against Los Dos, I think there was 4 goals in the final 20 minutes of that game.
Matt, you're not doing the game service. It was 1-0 in the 74th minute.
So 7 goals, is that right?
7 goals in the final
right,
16 minutes. As as
That's why you're right there next to me. Check me for my stats.
Williamson goes down to a knee. Don't know if this happened earlier on in the second half. There was a moment in which Williamson, shielding the ball from a defender, was Hernandez he was shielding it from, kind of came up limp in that moment and continued on. Obviously struck the free kick that set up the Jadama goal.
Yeah, it looked like to me like a Charlie horse initially, like it was on his right thigh there. He was kind of holding for a second. Sometimes those things, you can run them off for a little bit, but then you slow down and they just flare up. They just get inflamed and you just can't run them off. So I'm wondering if that's what he's trying to deal with right now.
Well, as Williamson makes his way to the sideline, you look at Gerson Echeverry. We spoke with him earlier today. The head coach of RGV, became head coach December 6th of 2017. Born in Paterson, New Jersey, went to college at Seton Hall, then went on to coach his alma mater later on. Played in the lower levels of U.S. soccer during his career, as well as playing in Colombia. And he sees a familiar face running onto the pitch for T2. The captain for RGV in 2018, Todd Wharton, comes on in place of Eric Williamson. And how poetic would it be for Todd Wharton if he has a hand in what could potentially be a game-winning goal for Portland against his former club?
And you have to think, just sitting there on the bench for this first 82 minutes or so, Wharton has just been thinking, man, if I could just get my opportunity against my former club. Obviously, he's the incumbent starter. I think before Konechny was coming in from the Timbers, he's been such a consistent player for T2. Does the work, dirty work defensively, covers a lot of ground. Very smart with his passing. Obviously, I cursed him there.
His first touch goes past Farfan and out to touch.
But he's had a very good relationship with Renzo Zambrano, and he even makes some very nice runs from deep areas. Has scored some goals. I remember.
And Leaker makes a mistake and lets that ball run out across the end line, giving RGV a free corner here.
Man, it's such a difficult one there from Leaker. Just not taking his eye off the ball. Just a half a second here. Not doing enough of that touch. Ball almost rolls over the line clearly. And that's not one you want to give up to RGV. That's just an easy one.
Here comes Martinez's corner kick. In, nearly finds the head of Remilio Hernandez. Now ball falls to Enriquez. Dribbles it outside the box, pressured by Sierkowski. And Enriquez goes down, no whistle, and then finally another corner kick, the fifth awarded to RGV.
Felt like Enriquez actually committed the foul there, rolling around, and we'll see. Sierkowski gets out here to defend, gets his ball in front of the body, and then Enriquez falls down, and Sierkowski just falls over him. Ball goes out for a corner, though.
Spria, important header win, though falls to Foster, takes a deflection, and out for another corner kick.
And T2 just dodges a bullet there. Seemed like if Foster had a little bit more focus on that touch, he might be able to get better on that.
Plays short to Foster. Now Martinez sends it in again, this time easily headed away by Langsdorff. T2 release pressure momentarily, but here comes Martinez with it again. 1v1. Central looking for Small, doesn't get there. Now Enriquez has it, dribbling forward, 6, and finished by RGV, who take the lead once again. 2-1, it's Carlos Small.
And RGV just putting the pressure on T2. It's a great ball in, well defended from T2 initially, but they don't get a second bite at it. And it's just a fantastic shot on goal. Looks like Ornstill's able to save it momentarily, but Small is just there for the finish. That's what finishers do. Able to get possibly the game winner there, 2-1 for RGV.
Well, if you were with us the last time T2 played here at Merlot Field, Colorado Springs scored an absolute screamer that gave them a 2-1 lead, only to see Foster Langsdorff answer back less than 2 minutes later. Here's Asprilla. Asprilla earns T2 a corner kick. Ojeda will run over to take. So just like that, T2 come the other direction. And it will be Wharton to strike this, not Ojeda. Wharton will send it in, floats it towards a penalty spot, over the head of Jadama, who will have to go run it down. 87th minute now. No foul called there. Looked like Small took out Wharton. Cameron Knowles raised his hands up, wondering where the whistle is from Farhad Dodko. He's been hesitant to call it at times throughout the course of the night. Smith's cross in, and Adams heads away. Well worked by Ornstill, and the whistle comes out there from Dodko. It'll be a yellow card for Nathan Smith. So that's a 4th yellow card of the night shown to T2.
Nathan Smith here just coming in clean on the challenge. I don't see a foul there. I think Enriquez just turns into the player as he's trying to put his foot on the ball, but for me, that's not a foul. I think Nathan Smith unlucky to get a yellow card or even a foul in that situation. He gets all ball. He's not trying to injure the player. He's not coming in studs up. I think the player just tries to turn on the ball, and the way he comes down is what Farhad Dodko sees to give him the yellow card.
4 yellow cards shown tonight to T2, none for RGV. Ornstill does well to shield from Small. Langsdorff with nice hold-up play to Ojeda. Now Sierakowski. Deflects off of Coronado for a T2 throw. 89th minute, minute and a half plus stoppage time remaining.
Foster Langsdorff was making a really nice run down the middle. I wish Sierakowski would have seen the run. Maybe he plays it a little bit early to him.
And the offside flag up on Carlos Small, who could not check his run. Jadama did well to just slow down for a moment. And now it'll be the 3rd and final substitution of the night for Rio Grande Valley.
Looks like Small is just offsides. Jadama does a nice job of holding his line for just a half a second.
And here comes the substitute to try and shut things down defensively for the visitors. Malik Foster, the forward, out in favor of defender Robert Castellanos, a 20-year-old from Palmdale, California.
And RGV just going for that back 5, trying to lock things down in the middle. As if it wasn't hard enough for T2 to get through the middle, it's going to be even harder for him. A lot of big bodies back there.
RGV with another push forward. Adam Martinez to play Lemoyne. Does well to get a touch to it and keep it in play as Jadamo is trying to shield out. But Portland comes the other direction. 30 seconds plus stoppage time remaining. We're hearing we'll play around 3 minutes of stoppage time. Coronado able to take it away from Smith, out to touch. And we've started, and indeed we will play 3 minutes of stoppage time here at the end of 90. Can T2 find a way through this RGV defense?
Yeah, it's not going to be going straight down the middle. That's just too easy for RGV. They're going to have to get the ball wide, and they're going to have to get crosses into the box.
Out wide for Spria. It's been quiet the last 15 or 20 minutes. Overlapping run coming from Farfan. Decides not to use him. Now plays Farfan. Flag stays down. A couple seconds too late from Spria. Now dribbles central. Will shoot. Takes a deflection. Up in the air. Adams wins the header. Ojeda off the volley. Blocked. Still up in the air in the box. Sierakowski then wins the header, but straight to Derek.
Spria coming in on his favored right foot there. We know he can strike from distance. Just gets deflected there. Bounces around in the box. Falls to Ojeda, who just can't get enough on it.
Langsdorff will chase this one down in the corner. Two defenders there. Play back to Ojeda. Ojeda's cross in. Header won by RGV, but it'll be a corner kick. We're nearly through 2 of the added 3 minutes.
That's really good defending there from Adams and Garcia. They've just been beasts back there for RGV in this game.
Might be the last chance for T2. This ball floated towards the penalty spot. Jadama's there. They'll send the cross back in and earn another corner kick, the 9th of the night for T2. Ojeda will be the man to strike. 30 seconds remaining when he hits it. Leaker is forward. Ojeda goes back post. Ball gets held up there. Brief shouts for a handball, and now Leaker will chase all the way back. Derek happy to take the air out of the ball now, though, as that might have been the last gasp for the home side. Is there one more moment for T2? Chested out by Sierakowski. Ojeda with it. We played the 3 minutes. Ojeda switches it over to Spria. Ball floated in towards Ornstill, who gets his chest to it. Still up in the air, corner of the box. Ojeda settles. Cross in. Headed away, and there's the final whistle. Rio Grande Valley has come to Portland and walked away winners, extending their unbeaten streak to 5. And T2's unbeaten streak ends at 4 as they suffer their first home loss of 2019. Well, Nat, it was an interesting match throughout. RGV got the early goal, forced Portland to chase the majority of the match. They finally get the equalizer, only to see RGV score 5 minutes left in the match.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing about this game is you had two teams who had been very good at scoring goals, hadn't been very good defensively, but for RGV, they were just the better team defensively. It was so difficult for T2 to break them down, to play through the midfield, to find those chances. And I think overall, RGV, they were the better team. I think they deserved this result because they were better at creating those chances and defending in the field. Just a very difficult game for T2. I don't think they were as sharp as they would have liked, and I just don't think they created as many chances as they should have. But full credit to RGV. They played a very good game, good game plan coming in. Hats off to them.
T2 fall to 4-2-3, remain on 15 points, while RGV moved to 3-3-3 on 12 points. They're now in 4th place in the Western Conference. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from this one, as it was a back and forth affair. We'll start off in the 8th minute. It was Rio Grande Valley getting the goal.
Yeah, and these set pieces change games, and Cabrera getting a fortunate touch there. Ball bounces up right to him. He initially gets that touch right there as it bounces on the half bounce, and he just finishes that. No chance for Leaker there. Gets that opening goal. 1-0 to RGV to start the game.
As we moved on through the first half, Marco Farfan may be lucky to not get sent off here.
Yeah, Marco Farfan pulling down the runner there, Foster. gets all of his jersey, and very fortunate as he is the last defender. Probably should have been sent off. RGV players think so. I think Dodko saying there might have been another defender.
We move later, and it was an opportunity for T2 from Eric Williamson.
Yeah, Eric Williamson getting the ball falling to him right there. Takes a great first touch to set himself up. But Derek is up to the task with a nice save with his right paw.
Best chance of the match to that point for Portland, and then Williamson set up Jadama.
Williamson with a fantastic ball, just a bending ball right into the run of Jadama. Look at Foster Langsdorff, how he pulls that back line, makes them drop a little bit with his run, and then Jadama's just on the end of it.
And then it was the winner, nearly from RGV there.
Yeah, and then it's just a good run again from Foster, getting in behind that back line, and Leaker with a wonderful save to keep T2 in the game.
After extended pressure in the T2 defensive half, it was Carlos Small that finally found the winner.
Yeah, Enriquez doing all the dirty work there, getting the ball, moving it, getting the shot off. Orange still with the initial save. As we can see here, the ball just comes around to Enriquez, who gets a nice low shot, but he couldn't do enough there. Small on the doorstep. That's what strikers do. That's what goal scorers do. Gets the game winner, 2-1. RGV get the points.
And as mentioned, they move into 4th place in the Western Conference by virtue of the 3 points here this evening. And meanwhile, back to the drawing board a bit for T2. This one will be tough. They don't play for 12 days. They'll go out on the road, take on Tacoma Defiance before coming back home on the 25th of May. They'll play one match in the next 25 days. So they'll have to sit on this one for a while, and it will not be a great taste to have in their mouth, having lost to Rio Grande Valley 2-1 here at Merlo Field this evening. Well, that'll do it for us here from Portland, as the visitors get the victory thanks to goals from Wilmer Cabrera Jr. and Carlos Small. Mo Jadama with his 3rd of the season in the loss. For our production team, our producer Jose Navarez, as well as my partner Nat Borchers, I'm Fletcher Johnson. We'll talk to you on the 25th of May against El Paso Locomotive, one of the expansion sides. But 2-1 tonight. It finishes in favor of the visitors, Rio Grande Valley Toros FC. We'll talk to you next month.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.